Right, hi guys. We're going to do another cook along today. So this is the fourth one out of them all that we've done so far. We've got one more next week. So today we're going to be doing some fruit kebabs. Okay, so it's a good opportunity to use any fruit that like you've got like over. Quite a lot of fruit that you can use from it. Really, we could use big pineapples, cut it down, melons, strawberries, blueberries. We've obviously selected five that was in your food bag. Okay, so today we've got a banana, we've got a satsuma, clementine, mandarin. You can even use an orange if you've got one. We've got a kiwi, we've got an apple, and we've got, it was in your food bag, a plum. Okay, so as I said, you can use a range of stuff really if you've got it. If you haven't really got fruit, you can always do veggie kebabs. Some of the equipment that we need is a bowl. We need some kebab sticks. Okay, I would normally use wooden ones, but I can't find any ones today, and I've only got this one, so it's not ideal. But we need a sharp knife. Okay, like a small knife. This would probably be better, and a chopping board. Okay. Now, one bit that I have added that I haven't put onto the poster is just a little tub. Okay. Now, this is from mushrooms. You could use like a punnet of strawberries or something like that. And there's another use for this. We do this in the cooking sessions after school. And it's basically to put all of our food waste. So we just don't put it on the table somewhere. It's quite nice to have a box or even another bowl just to put all your food waste in, just to keep your space quite nice and tidy. Okay, so we're going to use that. So if you have got any comments, okay, like questions, you can put them in the comments box and we can get back to you on here. So a couple of things before we start. Okay, so if you've got long hair, make sure you've got it tied back. If you've got an apron, you can put that on. Any jewellery, so watches, rings, or anything like that, you can take those off. If you're in the kitchen or you're going to be moving around a lot, okay, make sure you've got some shoes that are tied up. We don't want people falling over. Sleeves up, and that's it. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of seconds to get all those together. And I'll talk about some of the reasons why we sort of do the fruit kebabs. Okay, so one of the reasons is we can have them for breakfast, or we can have them for maybe a dessert. As I said, you can use quite a lot of different fruits. Obviously, the bigger fruits like your pineapples, your melons, stuff like that, you wouldn't use it all. You'd use a section of it. Okay, maybe like an eighth or a quarter or something like that. Also, they're healthy. So we speak quite a lot in the sessions about 5 a day. So in here, we've obviously got 5 portions of fruit. So that's like straight out of the day, we're going to be having our 5 portions. So we might not use all the apple, but a portion is a handful. Okay, so you've got something that fits in your hand. Ideally, I've got bigger hands, obviously. I would probably use 2 plums for a portion, but it's going to contribute towards one of my portions. Same for kiwis. Okay, so we're going to take off some of the skin. Banana's probably fine. Cut that in half. That'd be 1 portion. And my satsuma is about a portion. So depending on how big your hands are, you might need to add more, or you might need to take less off for it to be a portion. Okay. So we make a start. So what we need to start with is our chopping board. I'm going to bring the screen down now. Is our chopping board in front of us? Okay. So where did it go? It's going over there. So we've got our chopping board. All right. So what we want to do to start off with is make sure all the fruit that we're going to use has been washed. So I've washed all this to start with, and we're going to start off with the easy stuff. Okay, because with our knife, we don't want to go straight into the hard stuff. We might make a few mistakes. Obviously, this isn't sharp, so we don't want to be making mistakes with a sharp object. So let's start off with the really easy one, the banana. Okay, so I've got my box, and all that is for is just to put the skin, put any pith, put any things that we don't want that's not edible into here. And what we can do after, we can just go and put that straight into the food bin. Okay, nice and easy. So I'm just going to put that to one side for the moment. So with our banana, got a nice banana, we're going to use something called the claw. Okay, so the claw, we're going to use our thumb, which is going to go at the back, and our 4 or 3 fingers is going to go at the front, and they're going to be curved a little bit, so we don't want to see any of the fingertips. Okay, so I'm going to do it from different angles so you guys can see. Okay, so it's like this way. You see how my fingers are curved under? We're just going to get our knife, nice firm grip on the knife. Again, this is a small paring knife, so this is probably easier to sort of use on vegetables and fruits. And we're just going to go down our fingers, and we're going to probably put them into inch. So maybe from your thumb to the first knuckle, maybe that sort of size. And because banana's really soft, it's going to go through really easy. Okay, so we've got one. I'll do it from this side now. So see how my fingers are curved over? Thumbs out the way. 2. We don't need to rush through and take our time. 3. If you wanted to do smaller ones, obviously you can do smaller because then you'll get more kebab sticks. Okay. If you haven't got kebab sticks, it's just a fruit salad. Easy. 3. So I could probably get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to probably get about 7 bits. Okay, so there's my banana. Done. Easy. That's the easy one. So then what we're going to do with our bowl is we're going to put everything in our bowl. Okay, and the reason for that is so we're going to keep this space nice and clean, but also when we come to making the kebabs, we can just pick out things like that. So we'll start off with another easy one. Obviously, we don't even need our knife this time. Satsuma. Okay, so we can just get your fingers in there, peel it, take all the skin off, and if you can, try to take all the pith out the middle, because we don't want that. Now, if you're using an orange, obviously what you could do with the segments, you could desegment it like this, and then you could potentially cut them in half because they're going to be a bit bigger. But these, they sort of tie into the size that I was talking about an inch size. So for every segment that I'm going to take off, I'm just going to put in the bowl. Okay, now obviously be careful with these. Some of them might have seeds in, and that's the pith that I'm talking about in the middle. This bit, we don't want that in there, so we'll take that out. Some are going to be smaller than others. So what you can do with your kebabs is you can either put them on randomly. You can make the same kebabs like a pattern. So you might want to go banana, satsuma, apple, plum, kiwi, banana, apple, etc. However you want to do it. Or you might want to do 5 kebabs, one with all banana, one with all satsumas. Okay. Where do you reckon this is going to go? This is going to go straight into our food waste bin. Okay. So now we're going to start with a couple of the more difficult ones. So we're going to start off with the kiwi. Okay. You can actually eat the skin of the kiwi. Okay. Obviously, we don't want to. Okay. So we want to practice our knife skills, but also, okay, we want it to sort of give it a nice, vibrant colour, because obviously that is not a very nice colour to eat. Okay. So underneath, you'll see the green. So we're going to start off with the claw method, thumb at the back, fingers tucked over, and we're just going to take the very last bit off of the bottom. Now this is called topping and tailing, okay? So we don't want that, because that's where it hangs off the tree, or like the hard bit, and we don't want the other end. So now we're going to top it. So thumb at the back, fingers over, and take. You might need to work a little bit harder on this bit. Just a sawing motion, it'll slowly come off, And now we've got it. Okay. So now we're going to take the skin off, and that's the green I was talking about. So now we're going to take the skin off. So we're going to put it on the flat side. And the reason we're going to put it on the flat side is because it doesn't move around. It's going to be hard for us to sort of take the skin off like this. We definitely don't want to take the skin off like this. Okay. So we're going to put it on the flat side. And all we're going to do, we're going to work around it. So this is where your knife skills are going to come into play, okay? So claw method, thumb at the back, fingers on top, and we're going to take the knife away from us. Okay, so we're going to do that sawing motion, and as we saw it, we're going to slowly follow the shape of the fruit. So it's a bit like a circle or a sphere bit here. So we're going to go round at a bit of an angle. Okay, so we're going to go downwards away from us. Okay, so you see how my fingers are at the back of the fruit, and I'm taking the skin off the front of the fruit, and I'm slowly going down. So what you're left with is you're trying to take as little kiwi from the skin. Now, you probably wouldn't be able to peel this because if the kiwis are quite soft, it can go quite mushy. So it's probably the best way to do it. Personally, I will just chop them up, put them in there, so I don't really care about the colour. But to make it nice, colourful, we're going to do it like this. So once we've done that, all you're going to do is turn the kiwi. Fingers at the back again. Follow the shape. Again, we've got a nice thin strip. Again, turn it. And you're just going to repeat this process until it's done. Now, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on. I'm always sawing. Because if I start to push down, I can damage the fruit, okay, which probably won't be very good. And I could potentially slip, so I don't want to do that. So again, turn the fruit, follow the curves of the... Sometimes it's not all going to come off, okay, so we'll come back to that in a minute. Follow the curve. Some are going to be better than others, and all I'm doing with the food scraps is just putting it in that box. I'll probably say about 2 more and I'll be done. So what you can do now is now you can assess what you need to do left. So I can see that I've got a little bit here, a little bit there, just a few little bits. So I'm going to flip it now, and now it's going to be easy for me to find out what bits I've still got skin on. And I'm slowly repeating the process, thumb at the back, fingers at the back of the fruit. All I'm doing is just gently taking the skin off, and hopefully at the end of it I will have a pretty clean kiwi. There might be a little bit of skin on it, but that's fine. That, going to go into our food bin again. So once we've done that, again we're going to put it onto a flat side. We don't want to cut it like this because you can see it wobbled a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bridge now. And the bridge is we're going to use our thumb and our index finger. The other fingers that we've got, we get them out of the way. So like a pinch. We're going to pinch it. Knife's going to come through. And because it's soft, we're just going to saw back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until we hit the chopping board. And then you should have 2 halves. Now, I'm going to take a bit of satsuma and just match up. So I'm probably just going to cut these in quarters. If you wanted to go smaller, you can go smaller. It's up to you. So you're just going to repeat the process until, so I'm going to go this way. So bridge, bridge. So I've now got my 4 bits. If you wanted to go smaller, you can go smaller. Remember cutting it on the flat side down? It's completely up to you. Okay. So remember, see how those fingers are out of the way? They're not getting involved at all. And then I've got my bits of kiwi. So once that's all done, they can then go into my bowl. So now I'm starting to get a nice bit of colour in there, aren't I? So we're going to move on to a plum now. Now a plum is a stone fruit, okay, which means it's got a stone in the middle of it. So we can't just cut down through the middle of it because we're going to hit that stone. So there's a couple of little techniques we want to try and do. The first one is we're going to adopt that bridge hold, and knife's going to come through the middle, and all we're going to do is just, if you can see, there's a very faint curve there. We're going to use that, a natural sort of curve. We're going to use that, okay? So you're going to cut down that little curve until you can't go anymore. Now I can feel a stone there, so I want to take it off. I don't want to push down, and all I'm going to do is turn it over. And I'm going to try and go through the middle again, and hopefully I'll hit that stone. Now I've hit that stone. Then we can go on top. And what we're trying to do, we're just trying to create a ring around it. If you are competent, you can do it all in one, just by moving your finger, trying to keep their fingers out of the way, because this fruit is very soft still. So what we're going to do now is we're going to twist it like you're opening a jar, okay? Twist, and you've got two halves. And you can see that stone. Now, we don't want to get the knife and do this, okay? A, because we'll probably damage the fruit. We want quarters. So we're going to use our fingers. Now, these are probably some of the best tools sometimes. So we're just going to get our finger behind the stone and put it out. If you can't do that, what you can do is the half where the stone is, so you can see I've still got a bit of stone there. You can go down the middle of that, open that, and that's where your stone would be. So that's going to give you a little bit more room to get your finger in behind. And that's it done. So this would be the same as like a peach, nectarine, anything like that with a stone in. Cherries would be another one. Cherries are going to be a bit harder because they're a bit smaller. So this plum is still a little bit firm, so it's a bit easier for us. And we're going to do the same as what we did with the kiwi. So we're going to put it on the flat side, and we're just going to quarter it. Going to bring our bowl back in, and now we've got a nice bit of red, a nice bit of orange, a nice bit of green, a nice bit of white, yellowy colour. So we've got one more to do. If you're using different fruits and veg, or fruits for this occasion, do let us know. Just send us some pictures what you've got. It'd be interesting to see what you've actually got at home, just lying around. Some might have strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. So we've got the apple. Now we're going to use half an apple, okay? Now with your knife, this is probably going to be the hardest one because obviously this is a harder fruit. So we're going to go straight through the middle of it, like we did with the plum. We're going to have our bridge, and we're going to go through it. So what we want to try and do is make sure we've got our feet shoulder width apart so we're stable. Sometimes with your chopping board, you can put like a wet towel under there to keep it stable as well. If you need a bigger knife, you can use a bigger knife. Okay, but I'm obviously going to use this one still. So all I want to do is go saw. I'm going to bring it back. See, this is going to be a bit harder. So making sure you do it nice and slow. Because what we don't want to do is obviously slip with a knife. So you can see for me, I'm struggling a little bit. Okay, so I might flip it upside down. I'm going to follow that slice for that. The bit that makes it hard is the core. So I'm done. If you got an apple corer, like the circle things that you use, you could just core it. That'd probably be easy. So I'm only going to use half an apple. Okay, but if you wanted to, if you've got a smaller apple, you could use that. So now you can see the core, that we don't want the core. So we're going to take that out. So we're going to do the same. Bridge. We're going to go straight for the middle of it. And see me sawing. Okay. And if you don't go all the way, that's fine. Like I haven't sawed all the way through. Just use your hands to take it apart. So now we've got the core. Now the way we're going to do with the core is a little bit similar with the kiwi. I'm going to put it on a flat side, and we want the core facing out. Okay, so if I show you this one, fingers are going to go on top, like this. The reason why the fingers are on top is because we're sawing down. We physically can't get our fingers in the way if we're going downwards. And the knife is going to go a bit of an angle. So, fingers are on top. Our knife starts maybe just above the middle. So you're going to start just above there where you can see the core. Okay? And all you're going to do is just, again, use that sawing motion at about a 45-degree angle. Now we've cored it. And we don't want that. It's going to be hard. I'll show you again with the other bit. Flat side, fingers on top. And again, remember, as I said, if you haven't gone through all the whole way, just use your fingers. You might need to go back to it. But this is quite an easy way to get rid of the core. Okay. So now we've got our two halves. If you look like that, cord. And the reason why we don't want to do anything like this, putting the knife down, is because obviously if we're using a knife to start with, that's going to be a bit difficult. We're not going to know where we're going. We could potentially slip. So this is quite an easy way to do it. And all we're going to do, naturally, that is flat now. Okay, that's going to be our support. Now I'm going to use something called the worm that I called. Okay, so the worm is basically a long thing. So you might use it for a cucumber, courgette, something like that. So the knife goes in from the bridge, and just look at the way my wrist happens. So I push it down. So what happens is my knife is always on the chopping board. It's going to mimic the way a worm moves. Once you've done that, you can use a claw, and you're just going to cut them into your chunks. So I'm probably going to do these into thirds. So I've got 6 bit for every quarter. And that's it, apple done. So now I've got all my fruits in here. The next thing to do is just to build my kebabs. So I would start off with, rather than, obviously this is blunt at this end, okay? If you've got a sharp one, I wouldn't start doing this because you're going to poke yourself. I would maybe just use the bowl and just use your aim to go through. Once you've got it, put it on, okay? Got it, you can put it on. So however you wanted to do it, I'm just going to show you some of the different bits that I've got, so you can see how it's come through. Then you start to build up your kebabs, and that is how you do your fruit kebabs. So well done, guys. Okay. As I said before, if you've used other fruits or you've even used those fruits, send us some pictures to see how you got on. So it'd be interesting to see some of the patterns that you've made, maybe using the different fruits. You can use like Twitter, you can use just send them to our email, it's up to you. So the last bit for me to do is just to say about next week's food bag. Okay, so this is all funded by the co-op. So if you are a co-op member living around Greenwich or Bexley, it'd be great if you can back our cause. You can go onto their membership section for that. Yeah, if you want to tweet us, you can tag us on Instagram, anything. You can like this video. So thanks again. That's Fruit Kebabs, and we'll see you next week for another recipe. See ya.